Welcome, my friends, to the Black Diamond for Monday, the 12th of September, 2016. As always, John Lavenia is here with you. We're going to have an exciting call today. Before we get it started, though, I'm going to give you a couple, actually just one main announcement, especially for our brand new people who may not have heard this yet. We are getting together live, not just live like on these calls, but live in person in an actual location on planet Earth. That location happens to be the Red Rock Resort in western Las Vegas, United States. And it is going to be for our first ever Marketing Mastery event here with Digital Altitude. Very exciting time. I know we've got people vibrating in their seat. They're so excited about coming and meeting everybody in person. We're expecting a lot of people from around the world. So right now, in fact, for the next couple days, you can still get early bird pricing, early bird ticket pricing in your Digital Altitude members site. There are also, I think, a couple of VIP tickets left if you want one of those. That's a really good thing as well. And again, that is right inside your DA member site. And I will say, because some people had not heard this, that if you're a new RISE member, you're actually going to get your ticket paid for. So when you go to the event, right, you go online right now to your member site, you order a Sherpa ticket, is $97 is the early bird price, and you get to Vegas, they're going to give you your $97 back. So all new RISE members are getting reimbursed for the Sherpa ticket. And of course, if you want a VIP ticket, they'll reimburse the Sherpa amount, which is the $97 portion of that. So so there you go. Don't hesitate on that. Get those tickets. Get them now. In fact, bring your spouse, bring people you know. It's going to be a spectacular event. I can just tell you that, because I've done events like this before, and I can tell you that Michael Force and the team behind the scenes has big plans for everything that's come together in Vegas. Having said all that, tonight is Black Diamond. Black Diamond is, what is the Black Diamond about? Well, imagine getting to the top, right? And for any of you skiers and snowboarders, you know what a Black Diamond is. Black Diamond is expert level trail, right? So that's where, there's no experimenting. There's no experimenting. You've done your experimenting, and now you're ready to risk life and limb to get the most fun ride you could possibly have on the mountain. And that's the Black Diamond. But this Black Diamond is appropriate to our business, because we talk with experts each week who share their insights and their experience having become experts and having gotten to the top. And so you're going to hear different views on how to operate your business and marketing and I suppose life in general. On this call, we typically have some topics like personal development and different things that have inspired our guest speaker. And we have a different guest speaker each week. This week we got a really cool guy who I've known for years and years. But before I bring him out, I'm going to give our usual disclaimers, and that is that what you're going to hear on this call is my opinion and my guest speaker's opinion on stuff, how we work our business, how we work our lives, right? So this is our perspective on stuff. It's very raw. It's unscripted. The rules are take what you like and leave the rest. Most importantly, see how these apply into your life, into your business, right? So it's not just here to be entertaining, though we hope we're entertaining. We'd much prefer that you're not just entertained, but you take this stuff and use it as food for action in your business. We want to see you at the top as well. And as I always say, hey, look, if I say anything that offends you, you'll get over it. That's just how we roll. Again, it's very raw. Take what you like and leave the rest. Here we go. So the guy I'm talking to today, I want to go back to the old days when I was newer in this space than I am now. This is back in the early 2000s. Here I was, a guy in 2002 who got started in top-tier direct sales, just hoping to make $20,000 a month. That was like my big goal. If I could just make $20,000 a month. And guess what happened? I found top-tier direct sales, and I started making over $20,000 a month. It happened pretty quick. I could have did it quicker, knowing what I know now. And so there I was doing this thing, and for years I was operating at a very high level in my chosen field, right? This whole top-tier direct sales thing, which a lot of you are just learning about now here with Digital Altitude. Okay, but we're going back to '02. Now, fast forward a couple years, right? Here I am, a top earner in a company, having made millions of dollars, right? And having trained thousands of people. And this guy shows up. This guy shows up in the community, and he is very studious, right? He looks at what is this guy John Lavenia doing, and what are all these other top earners doing, and he's obviously very in tune with like the details of what's going on. This guy is not here to just kind of kick this thing around and see what happens and hopefully make a few dollars, right? He's looking at the same thing I looked at when I got started, and that is, who are the top people and what are they doing? And this guy kept showing up. He was there. He was there at the live events. He was there on the calls. He was studying every word. He was taking notes, right? Whether that's, on actual paper or just notes in his mind. But regardless, he was completely engaged. And guess what happened? Guess what happened? Here's a guy who wound up becoming a top earner himself. No surprise, but he took it a step further. He said, you know what, I wonder if we could systemize this thing here. This guy, John, I mean, he's doing some good stuff, and these other people, they're doing some good stuff. I wonder if we could systemize it and scale it. You see, as successful as I had been up to that point, I was still very much, and I tell this to my coaching students, I was very much a one-man show. Now, I did have my secret weapon, which is my wife. Some of you have met her. Some of you know who Shannon is. You'll certainly meet her at the event in Las Vegas. But she was doing some stuff behind the scenes, and I was doing most of the the marketing and sales stuff as well. But still, it was just me and her, and then of course we were growing our team of people, which got to the point of about 20,000 people on our team. Now, here comes this guy who's like, how can we create some automation, some systemization of all this? How can we put this in a fashion where people who aren't John Lavenia can come and do it, especially the newer person who's going through a learning curve? How can we accelerate that learning curve for people? How can we cause more people to have more success in less time? That's a great question. It's a question that I've sought the answers for throughout my career. And here's a person who I believe took it to a new level, who has evolved things that he saw working and has evolved them to the point where you now have, you, meaning you listening right now, in Digital Altitude, you now have this thing called the coaching platform. That did not exist back in the day. Okay, this is something that was evolved by the hand of this guy who I'm about to bring out. So it's a very, very special call that we're going to have here tonight, and I think very appropriate that we're going to bring out none other than Mr. Jeremy Miner, who, if you guys have been through the steps, you know who this guy is. Powerful guy. Jeremy, are you with us, sir?
John, I'm actually on the call. It's been a while since I've been on a call with you, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here with you tonight and to be with such an amazing group here at Digital Altitude. I couldn't be more thrilled to share, to have my brain picked. There's not a lot up there. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I do know a few things, and that's why I'm here on the call.
That's beautiful. You see that? That's modesty, ladies and gentlemen. Now, don't let Jeremy fool you. He's got some brains going on up there, right? Look, Jeremy, I'll tell you, I didn't put this coaching platform together, but I think there's thousands. I know there are thousands of people who are the beneficiaries of that. And so,
Sure.
Hats off to you, man. Acknowledgement where it's due. Bravo, my friend. Well done.
Thanks for the compliment. When did I meet? I got started in that company where you were you were the top income earner there for sure when I got started, hands down. I mean, everybody was like, John Lavenia, Shannon Lavenia, John. I mean, that's it's everybody, right? That all talked about you. And I just studied from you guys and learned what others were doing. And just, as you do that and as you focus on being around successful people, crazy things happen that you just start to become successful yourself, So I didn't take the advice of any negative Nancy's or family members who are broke. I got around these guys that were successful earners. There were, earners that made, 300, 400, 500,000 a year. There were several like John that were seven-figure income earners as well. And I just really got around you guys, and you guys were obviously, good enough to me to kind of, show me some stuff. And my opinion is, when I meet somebody that's really successful, not only do I want to learn what they're doing, but I want to learn how to do it where I could possibly even do it better than they are. And so, John, hats off to you, my friend. You're a legend in this industry.
Thank you. So, you know what we should probably do, Jeremy? I know that you were successful prior to coming and meeting me and other people in the top tier direct sales space, but what led up to that? And then what caused you to be able to evolve it to where it is now, of course, with the team here at Digital Altitude?
Well, sure. So, I got started in direct sales very late 2006. So my background, I was a corporate executive for an Inc. 500 company, working my way up the corporate ladder type of thing. I started off I actually went to college here in the state of Utah. I'm actually here in Utah right now. I'm in downtown Salt Lake City right now, John, probably 10 minutes away from your house. But got started in a sales job while I was going to college, and just kind of worked my way up to this company, man. By the time I was like 25, 26, I was already the vice president of sales for this company that was growing massively. I mean, a pretty big company in Utah at that point. But the issue is, I just did not like the control that the owners had over me. It's like they told me to show up here. I had to show up here. I had to do this. I had to do that. And it's just like, I was making good money. I was making close to probably $300,000 a year at that time. And for a 25-year-old kid making $300,000 a year, back in early 2002, 2003, 2004, it's quite a bit of money, right? So the issue is just time away from family, just the unhappiness. And, I didn't even know what this industry was. I actually was on, I can't remember, I think I was on like my Hotmail. I had Hotmail for my email back in those days, embarrassed. But I saw this ad on the right-hand side of my email, and it said, click here to learn how to make $300,000 a year from your house, part-time. And I'm like, wow, I mean, that's, if I could work for my own part-time, what's this all about? I had no idea. So I clicked on the ad, responded to it. Some guy called me back. His name's Lehman from Tennessee, great mentor of mine. And, I got started in the same company you were with. And that's really what happened. And literally about, I would say, maybe 2 weeks after I got started, that company was doing a live event, very similar to the live event we're actually doing in Vegas. Kind of crazy. It was like a 2-day mastermind event. And my sponsor was like, hey, you should go to this event. And I'm like, I didn't even hesitate. I'm like, I will be there automatically, because I knew from my business experience that if I wanted to be successful and start my own business, that I had to be around other successful people, and I had to be around the training to teach me how to have that success, right? I mean, you can't just expect to be successful in a business if you don't go to the company trainings, right? I mean, who would even think like that? If if you bought a McDonald's franchise, and I'm not saying their food's very good, guys. I'm just saying the business model is good, right? So let's say you buy a McDonald's franchise, and McDonald's says, hey, in 5 weeks from now, we're going to have a training in Las Vegas, and we're going to teach you how to make $50,000 a month and run your business effectively, where you can make over $50,000 a month. And, of course you would go, right? You wouldn't even hesitate, right? You'd be like, how do I get there? How do I raise the funds to get a flight? How do I get the funds for a hotel? I will be there at all costs, right? You would never say, no, I'm just not going to go to that training. I'll just figure it out myself. Because if you did, it's just going to take you months and months of a learning curve if you're not at the events, right? So I went to this event, and I actually met John Lavinia. I saw you up on stage. I shook your hand, talked to you for a few minutes. I think I met your wife, Shannon. And the craziest thing happened for me. When I showed up to this event, and there was probably, 1,500, 1,800 people there or something like that, right? I show up to this event. I think it was down in Phoenix, actually. Hot, like in August, crazy hot. Show up to this event, and they brought up like these people that they called rising stars, and they were giving them all awards. There was probably like 50, 60, 70 people. I don't know. I don't remember what the requirements were for them to get the reward, but I saw all these different types of people. There wasn't just like this cookie-cutter businessman or this cookie-cutter, businesswoman up there who were getting all the rewards. There were stay-at-home moms. There were truck drivers. There were construction workers. There were, police officers. There were firefighters. There were, administrative assistants. There were secretaries. There were business owners there too from other businesses. There were business people. It was blue-collar, white-collar, and I was just shocked. I mean, I even saw this lady. I actually told this on another training call a couple weeks ago. I saw this lady, and no pun intended here. Hopefully I'm not hurting anybody's feelings. I just thought it was interesting from my background in the middle of Missouri, right, very conservative state. But I saw this lady up there that had a purple mohawk, and had this whole leather outfit on that looked like she just got off her, motorcycle, and literally had this, just purple. I was like, and she got an award for making like $40,000 or $50,000 a month, and she'd only been doing it like 5 or 6 months. And I'm like, and the light bulb switched on. I'm like, you know what? If that lady with the purple mohawk can make $50,000 a month, then by damn it, not only will I make $50,000 a month, but I'm going to learn how to double, triple, quadruple whatever she's doing. And that light bulb switched on for me, and I'm telling you, the next day after I got back to the event, I hit the ground running. I think by my second month, I made like 20, 25 grand a month. And I think my first year I ended up making like 750,000 just for the first year. And that income kept going up. I think 2 years later, I started making over 7 figures a year. And then by 2012, I was making $2.5 million a year. You know, that was kind of the pinnacle of where I got as an affiliate. And so, I mean, these live events, you know, when I see we've got hundreds of people registered already, but I'm like, man, where's everybody at? We've got tens of thousands of members. We've got 60-some thousand members. I mean, we should already have 2,000 plus there or more, you know, the people that are more serious about their business. Why aren't they at the event? So if you're out there like, hey, like, should I go to this event? Well, it just depends on if you want to be really successful in your business or not. That's what it really comes down to it. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, if I had not gone to that event, I probably would not be on this call right now. And number two, you probably wouldn't be on this call either, because this coaching system might not have been invented if I hadn't gone to that event, right? So went to this event, met John, met these leaders, and just everything just exploded for me because I realized it was actually real. There were real people doing this, and I learned. They brought in all these trainers that taught me how to actually run the business, John. I mean, it's crazy. Thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are that you just compared this to a franchise, which typically in a franchise, well, first of all, you don't have a choice. You'll do what the franchising company says to do. So it's go to the event. And that's, by the way, that's after you paid $1 million for your McDonald's franchise, which is the other point, right? So when you look at it in perspective, well, I just put $1 million on the table, which I may or may not have had that money. Maybe I had to go in debt to do that. But now am I going to quibble with I need to go to an event to learn how to maximize the opportunity? No, I'm not going to quibble with that. What the hell are we talking about here? I want every damn event you got. Can I go to 2 events? How about 5? Right? Yeah. So it's a different perspective. And that is the perspective, Jeremy, that, I mean, you're citing here, and I noticed in the chat roll that some people were taking note that in your early 20s or mid-20s, you're making a multiple 6-figure income. That's not normal. That's impressive, right? Compared to what most 20-somethings are doing, right? They're, I guess, drinking beer and, you know, whatever. Yeah. But so you had a bit more of a business perspective.
Well, I'll tell you the reason why. John. I mean, I didn't grow up that way. My parents didn't tell me how to run a business or you should be business perspective. I mean, let me give you a little bit of a background so you guys understand where I came from. Okay, I always joke with my friends, I've got to, you know, being in this circle and becoming a top income earner, you get around very successful people. And I've got a lot of friends that are, you know, 10 times the wealthier than I am. They're worth $150, $200 million. And I always joke to them, I'm like, man, you're a family. I mean, you inherited a lot of this money. You guys got the silver spoon. And I always tell them, you know, I grew up on a farm in the middle of Missouri. Write this down. The town that I grew up in, you can look it up on the map, Osceola. It's called Osceola, Missouri. Population is 755 people. My graduating class was 34 people. I was below average. I had a 2.4 GPA. Okay, my dad was a farmer. My mom was a school teacher. I wasn't taught how to communicate. I wasn't taught how to sell. I wasn't taught how to market. Guess what? I learned those skills. I acquired those skills because learning those type of skills are all available, right? We live in the informational age. You just go to Google, right? You know, if you want to learn how to change your oil, go to YouTube. There's a guy showing you how to change your oil in your car. It's not rocket science, right? We live in the information society. I mean, if you want to learn how to do something, there's information out there to learn how to do it. So I acquired those skills. And in my early 20s, I started figuring out when I was going to college, like, hey, I need to make some money. Like, I'm starting a family. I've got kids. I need to make some money. I'm going to have to learn new skills. So I went out. My parents did teach me, hey, if you want to learn something, you just go and learn it. Right? That's one thing they taught me. Just go do it. You know, don't talk about it. Just go do it, right? So I just went out there and acquired the skills. And, yeah, by the time I was 25, 26, I was the vice president of a company, but I only got there because I worked my freaking butt off and I learned the skills necessary. I did what others were not willing to do, right? I always, talk to people. What separates top performers from just people who do average things in life? It's very simple. Top performers are willing to do what others are not willing to do. My friends were out on the weekends partying and all that stuff. You know what I was doing? I was at home reading books on how to communicate, reading books on how to market, studying, practicing, rehearsing, everything. Everything. I didn't go out on the weekends. I didn't, hang out every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night with my friends. I was like a hermit, reading books, learning, and my friends were broke, and I was the one that had all the success. I mean, it's not rocket science, guys. I was willing to do what others were not willing to do. I was willing to out-learn other people, and I'm still learning now. I drive down the road. I'm not listening to Britney Spears, guys. I hate to tell you. She's not going to teach me that much. I'm not listening to the newest, greatest love song or, the newest, greatest pop rock, whatever, rap song or whatever. I'm putting in information that's going to feed my mind on how I can improve, because if we're not learning new material, if we're not improving, what are we doing? I mean, John, you know this better than anybody. I mean, we're regressing, right? If we're not going forward, we're not staying the same level, we're going backwards, right? And I'll tell you a personal story. I haven't told many people this, but probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I got to a point where I was like, I know it all. I just felt like I built these coaching systems. They had lots of success, made a lot of money. I know how to do everything. And I just stopped learning there for about 6 or 7 months and just stopping to learn, stopping to read, because I read about 3 books a month. So I read like 36 books a year, sometimes more. Okay, that's the minimum, okay? Because I just stopped learning for 6 to 7 months, I started regressing. My skills started to diminish, and I could tell I wasn't doing it as much. And I was like, wow, snap out of it. Wake up. You got to keep learning. You got to keep learning, or somebody else is going to pass you up. So that is my biggest thing, guys. If you want to be successful, you got to get to the events. You got to outlearn, and you got to be willing to do what others are not willing to do. You can't, if you want to be successful, then just outdo other people. Go to the event. Instead of that guy that's in North Carolina or New York that's sitting there, well, maybe I got to make $10,000 a month before I go to the event, or I got to do this, or I got to do that, and I'll just get to the next one 6 months down. Don't be that guy, because that guy's not going to be as successful as you that are coming to the event. I can pretty much guarantee you that, for sure, John. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, the perspective that you brought in right from the outset is because you had already developed a habit. You mentioned something that was dangerously close to one of my favorite quotes from a guy named Albert E.N. Gray. Jeremy, this is a thing that we talked about some years ago. We used to talk about this at events, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in Vegas. But in brief, this guy named Albert E.N. Gray back in the 1950s with the Prudential Insurance Corporation said that he had discovered the common denominator of success, you see. So he wanted to figure out, for all people who have ever been successful, not just at Prudential, but in life, what was the common denominator of success with all those people? It's got to be universally applicable. And he said, because that's what I was looking for, that's what I found. And he said, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the common denominator of success. Successful people have formed the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. There it is. And it's not because they like doing these things. They just do them anyway because they've got a goal, they've got a reason worth doing them, and they subordinate pleasing preferences for pleasing results. In other words, results are more important than the methods. Like, I want it to be comfortable. I don't care if it's comfortable. I just want the result, right? Yeah. So,
well, yeah, for you to be successful, you got to get uncomfortable. People who are average, they become comfortable with being uncomfortable. 100%. They're comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's what happens.
And so you're talking about, as it relates to these events and the decisions that we make is really what we're talking about. What are these decisions that we could make? Well, let's see here. We've got this guy, Michael Force, you see, and he's made lots of money, and he's laid out this whole plan, right, along with the other team members behind the scenes. You've got one of them here on the call right now, okay? And so this plan includes, let's see, we've got the ascension model itself, which is base, rise, ascend, peak, apex. Do you think that was just on a whim that he put that ascension model together? No, it's based on some data, on some empirical knowingness here. Their experience went into this. And then we've got, of course, the Aspire system itself. We've got, this conference call system that I was brought in to create. We've got the Marketing Mastery event. Like all these pieces of the machine were very deliberately crafted to give the newcomer, who may be 1 hour in the business, listening to my voice right now, to give the newcomer every advantage they could possibly have. So they don't have to read for 25 years, right? They can shorten the learning curve. Yes, still read, still study, of course, but can we accelerate the process? You know, Jeremy, that's the thing that I look at when I ask myself questions like, why am I here? And a big reason is, well, part of my purpose, like in life, like what I've assigned to myself as my purpose, is to expand prosperity and prosperity consciousness for as many people as I can touch in my time here on this planet. And perhaps that's because I grew up poor on the streets of New Jersey. So I've taken this on as sort of a personal mission, right?
Yeah.
And what better vehicle to do that than what we have here in the whole, the whole top-tier direct sales space. So I see this as like a calling. This isn't just like some online marketing deal or something. And I know the same is true for you. You wouldn't be here if this was lacking substance or if it was built on sand.
When Michael first started talking to me about, 7, 8 months ago about coming on here, building out a coaching team for all the affiliates that he was going to bring in and other affiliates that would come in after. And, I talked to Michael, guys, and I'm just going to tell you at that point, he said, look, I've invested $1 million. $1 million. I've spent the last 8, 9, 10 months working 16, 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I'm going to tell you, everything that you guys are going through right now did not just happen by accident. It didn't just show up when Michael Force didn't just show up and, bang out a few emails and a couple, PowerPoints and it was here. You're talking months of work behind the work that you've never seen, programming. I know the people he had to bring on board to make all that happen. I mean, $1 million into it before he even started, okay? So there's a lot of serious things there. And when he wanted to start this coaching program, there's a lot of work that goes into that, hiring all these coaches. We have 70-some coaches now, almost 80. We're expanding every single day. We've got tens of thousands of affiliates. 6 months from now, we'll probably have 200 to 250 coaches for you guys. Because right now, we can't keep up with all of the leads coming in. I got to hire coaches. Like it seems like I've got to hire more coaches every single day, which is a good problem to have, right? It's because you guys are taking action out there. You're making things happen. You're listening. And I'm assuming if you're really serious about your business, you're going to be at the events. You're going to be in Vegas. You're going to be at the next event too. Don't just go to one event. Go to all of the events, because the more events you go to, the more you learn, the more successful people you get around, right? And the more success you obviously have. The people who stay at home, who never get around that success, who never get the training, it's not rocket science to figure out why they're not having the same results that the members are that are at the events, 100%. So, going back to that story where you were asking me about, how did this coaching system happen, when we were in that company, like I said, I like to learn what others are doing, and I like to expand on that. Sometimes I don't have the greatest ideas, but somebody can have an idea, and I can multiply that idea by 10, or by 100, right? So I saw, back in the day, this is 10 years ago, this is 2006, and I saw, like, man, there's some really successful people here. They come on, they're having a lot of success, they're getting a lot of results, but there's just some people that really don't like to be on the phone. They don't like to communicate. They don't like to sell. That's something that I really enjoy. I have my own sales training company, right? So I obviously enjoy that. So I'm like, what if we put the sales process, so my exact process that I take a member through, and what if we leverage that out with coaches and have a step-by-step system that people could go through where they could learn about the product, they could learn about the training, they could learn all this, and they could do it with a coach. I mean, could you imagine that? I was like, what if each person had their own coach? You just took them through the system, and, wow. And this is an idea that me and some other guys, some great friends of mine, one of them is Jason Howe, who is here working at the company on the corporate side, and another one is Darren Salko, who's one of the, Darren Ronda, one of the top people here in India as affiliates and some other programs. And we got, some other guys as well, and we put our heads together, and we're like, hey, let's come up with these steps. Let's come up with, Jeremy's sales process. And around the first part of 2012, I think. I think the end of 2011, we launched this thing, and boom, I mean, it just took off like crazy, right? And then we did it for another company, and that one took off, 50, 100 million a year in revenue, and look at what we're doing here at DA. We're already on pace to probably make $100 million in revenue and payouts for the affiliates the first 12 months, which is crazy. So if we're doing that much the first year, just think what we're going to be doing 3 years from now, and 5 years from now. And we could be 500 million a year, 600 million a year, $1 billion company, all because of the affiliates that are on this call, that take action, that are at the events, that are taking their business seriously. And those affiliates are at those events. I'm just going to tell you, they're going to be the ones that make 40 grand a month, 50 grand a month, 80 grand a month, 100 grand a month. The ones that are already making 30, 40, 50 grand a month after they go to the events, they'll go from 40 and they'll go up to 60 or 70. So income always goes up after the events because you learn more about how to run your business. Heck, I even learn more. Like I'm going to take away things from Vegas that we're going to put in the coaching program that are going to help our coaches, that are going to help our affiliates, first and foremost, make more sales. I mean, I'm always learning, right? So we've got to be learning. We've got to be at those events for sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking right now, Jeremy, about every big leap that I've been able to make in my life has not been a solo act. It has always, in my assessment, looking back, it has always been through the catalyst of another person or other people. Yeah. And even I'm going to say this, and this is going to kind of smack some people in the face that have been looking at the online, instant riches deals and all the distractions that, that every 15 seconds you see another viral pre-launch and all this crap. And, I think a lot of times people, when they're exposed to a lot of that, they start to buy into it. They start to get the idea that there's like one magic thing that they can do. And it's not them, by the way. They're not the magic. But there's one magic thing that they can do. And so you've certainly heard this question, having been a sales trainer as long as you have, and I've heard it many times, having been a sales trainer as long as I have. John, what's the one thing that I should do to do such and such, to reach this goal or whatever? And, after hearing that question enough, I got to the point where I came up with an answer, because you and I both know, Jeremy, there's no one thing. But the answer that I came up with, and I kind of got this from, in part from Dan Kennedy. Of course, a lot of people here are familiar with Dan Kennedy's work, and if you're not, it's here's one of the highest paid copywriters in the world, right? You want a sales letter, it's $100,000. Pay in advance if you want this guy to write a sales letter for you. But anyway, he's grumpy old man Dan, and he's just really good at what he does, which is not much. He does one thing really, really good. He's a great copywriter and salesman. And so what he said was, the one thing you should do is do everything. And so when I think about that, and I think about, all right, well, what is the one thing that this person should do? Well, they should do whatever they're not doing now that could move them in the direction of their goal. And that could be something different in 15 minutes. But right now, there's one thing that they're thinking that they should be doing that they haven't done yet. Well, then do that thing that's immediately in front of you right now, and then do the next one thing. And then before you know it, we'll do like what Albert Gray was saying, is we've developed the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. Not because we like doing them. Nobody likes doing them. We're just going to do them anyway, to the point where we've actually developed a habit, right? So you mentioned, Jeremy, that you're still learning. Thank you for saying that, because I think sometimes people think that you've arrived, or I've arrived, or Michael Force has arrived. None of us have arrived. None of us. Nope. I'm not levitating. I'm not manifesting fish and loaves, right? I sink when I walk through a puddle, right? So look, I'm still learning stuff. And what am I going to do? Regress, like what Jeremy was talking about? Jeremy, I'm going to make a damaging admission right here on the phone right now with everybody listening. I went through a period of my life where I had started to doubt. You witnessed some of this because you've known me for years, but you witnessed a very, very bad business deal, business relationship that occurred in my life. And I started, kind of wondering, what's life about and stuff like this, and just kind of backed off from the whole scene, whether we're talking about sales or personal growth. And I just started to, I guess, kind of go through a bit of a personal crisis. And I stopped studying. I stopped even wanting to listen to what people thought or anything. And I started to regress. And it was by re-engaging. And listen, everybody, this could be it could be very appropriate that you're on this call right now, especially if you've had things like, past businesses that didn't work out, or relationship issues with partners or whatever, or other failings, right, where you've distrusted yourself or others. Here's what I had to do. I had to get around people of good rapport, high notorious people, very, quality people. And I had to deliberately rekindle my own interest in learning again. And this was after having made millions of dollars, okay? And it doesn't mean we don't have any problems anymore, but I'm telling you, what brought me back from the falls that we take in life, what brought me back was, again, the catalyst of other people. Now, could I have done that? Could I have gotten myself up off the ground and picked myself up by my bootstraps again if it were not for good people in my life? Thank goodness for this industry. And, Jeremy, now you and I, we know people all over the world, man. I got as many people who are friends, outside of the States as are in the States. I show up at probably any country in the world except, maybe Antarctica and get a room for the night, I don't have any people in Antarctica yet. Do you? I don't.
Yeah. I don't have any Antarctica friends, but I was telling my wife the other day, I'm like, I have more friends outside of Missouri than I do in my own state or even the town we live in. I have more friends probably in Australia or the UK or Europe or I have more friends outside of my own state, my own town, So the great thing about this industry is you make these connections and network, and you just learn from other successful people. You learn what they're doing. And maybe some of what they're doing doesn't resonate with you, but just that one little golden nugget, that one little thing. Guys, I'm going to tell you, I'm a pretty successful sales training company. I started a sales training with them about 6 months ago that it exploded all over the place, right? And my stuff is, according to everybody, wow, it's really good, and it's helping, we're doubling, tripling sales. But I'll be the first one to go into Barnes & Noble and buy another sales trainer's book, even if I'm like, you know what, I don't really like any of the stuff. It's all old school. It's just stuff that worked back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. But I'm going to go through that whole book, maybe 250 pages, and I'll find one little golden nugget. Maybe the rest of it I'm just like, man, this is not going to help me at all. It's a waste of space. But that one little golden nugget is going to give me something that continues to give me an edge over the competition, and something that I can help my own members of my sales training company and improve their skills, right? So it's that little golden nugget. You're going to go to Vegas, you're going to get golden nugget with every single person that's actually on the stage training. I'm going to be training. John Lavinia is going to be training, one of the all-time top people in this industry. Michael Force, the founder and CEO of the company, is going to be up on stage training. All these affiliates that you hear in the leaderboards and you see them, they're all going to be there. They're already making 50, 60, 80, some of them over $100,000 a month. Do you think they're not going to show up? Do you think they've learned everything, they're just not going to show up, stay at home? No, they're going to show up for sure. They're going to show up for sure, and that's why they continually dominate and they continually have that success, because they're always learning, just like John said. So get there, get those golden nuggets, 100%. Shake my hand. I want to meet you. I want to meet Mary from Iowa. I want to meet David from Ohio. I want to meet Jill from Washington. I want to meet, Sally from Maine. I want to meet Joseph from Australia. I want to meet, Pam from London, or wherever you're at, guys, wherever you're coming from. I want to meet you. I want to sit there and talk to you. I want to give you what I've been blessed to learn over my life, and I'm going to give it to you right there, so you don't have to go through all the trials and tribulations that I had to go through learning all that. I'm just going to be there giving it to you right there. Make sure you're there.
Yeah, great stuff. Hey, you know what, Jeremy, I see we're 40 minutes in. I think what we should probably do is open the lines for some interaction. We can do a Q&A. What do you think about that?
Yeah, let's do Q&A. I'm supposed to meet, actually, Michael Force and Mary, and actually your wife as well is coming to dinner here in about 20 minutes. So let's try to keep the Q&A to 10, 15 minutes or so, or heck, I'll even go 20. I'm sure they'll wait for me.
Yeah.
Do it.
You know what? That's the thing, everybody. Jeremy is right here in Salt Lake tonight, putting together. Jeremy, you want to mention what you guys are doing with this whole expansion, with the coaching floor and everything?
Well, yeah. So right now we have, like I said, we have almost 80 coaches worldwide. We have about 12 coaches here in a call floor in Utah, and we're actually expanding that call floor over the next 6 months to probably about 150, and within a year we'll have about 250 coaches here in our call floor in beautiful Provo, Utah, which is about 35 miles south of Salt Lake City. So that's why I'm here. I'm usually here in Utah about 4 to 5, 6 days per month, training, hiring more coaches here for the call floor as well. And that's to the benefit of you guys. That's to the benefit of you guys.
This is 100% about handling all the expansion that is going on right now. It is just a madhouse. And I can attest to that, Jeremy. I'm seeing it firsthand. That being said, let's go ahead and get Q&A mode started. Here we go. Okay, my friends, so if you're calling in on a phone, you can press *6 to raise your hand. It will ask you to confirm by pressing 1, I believe is the command. And if you're on the console app thingy here on DA Live Call, you can just go ahead and click the command to do that. And we're going to start with Dimitri. And Dimitri, you are live. Oh, Dimitri vanished. We got Corey. Corey Sutton, you're live.
Hey, I was actually wondering how long would it actually take once we get into the RISE system to build out our own personal network?
You mean how long did it got a little bit of echo there?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and mute your line, Corey, for the echo.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, so yeah, that's a good question. So, and I'm assuming you're asking, like, how long, once do I purchase RISE, do I start running traffic, make money? So make sure after you purchase RISE, some members don't understand the importance of this, but when you purchase RISE, your immediate next step is to get with your second coach, your scale-up coach, okay? Just so you guys are aware, your scale-up coaches are some of the top coaches in the entire industry. I know because I brought them here, okay? These coaches, I don't think there's one that doesn't make at least $400,000 or $500,000 a year in this industry. There's several of them that make 7 figures a year that are coaching you, John Lavinia including one of those. Okay? So your immediate next step is to get with your scale-up coach. We call him the S2 coach. That coach, him or her, is going to take you through steps 7 through 15. Around step 15, which usually takes you about a week, a little bit over a week. So once you train, they want to learn more about you, right? And about, probably about, I don't know, takes you about a week, 8, 9 days or so to go through those steps. Around step 15, they're going to do what's called your business plan, okay? And your business plan is they're really going to structure what your 30, 60, and 90-day income goals are very specifically. Let me preference this. Some people get into this type of business, they think it's a get-rich-quick scheme. I'm going to purchase RISE, I'm going to get rich tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to make, it's just, guys, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. Those schemes just don't work, right? I mean, we're not all, come on, guys. I mean, this is 2016. I think by now we know that get-rich-quick schemes don't work. This is a business built on a franchise model. It works. Obviously, we wouldn't have tens of thousands of members if it didn't work, right? So you got to be patient. There's things that you have to learn. If you bought a McDonald's franchise, you're not going to be making $1 million the next month. You're probably not even going to be profitable in a franchise. I don't think you're profitable in a franchise the first year or two. Is usually what most franchises are. So there's things you have to learn. Now here you make money a lot quicker than that for sure, but you got to be patient. So around step 15, they're going to do what's called your business plan. 30, 60, 90-day income goals. They're going to set those with you. They're going to go over how you make profits at the higher levels in the compensation plan. The Ascend Conference, the Peak Conference, and Apex. And the percentages of income you'll make at each of those levels every single month. Okay? And then at that point, they're going to go over marketing with you and introduce you to the traffic training, the traffic coach, the traffic training. Okay? And then at that point, traffic coach gets with you, helps place those ads with you. You get on different webinars that go over different ways to market. Traffic coach is there to help you as well. And that's when you start running your business and leads start coming in. But you got to do the work, the traffic coach, right? This is a real business. We're in 2016. It's not a fairy tale. You have to do work. Leads come in, just like you were a lead that came in to the S1 coach, and the same process gets repeated. And that's when you start making profits running your business. So, the time you purchase RISE or the time you go through the rest of your steps, get your traffic set up like that, you're, a couple weeks later, and it's a real business, right? Any business I've ever started, I didn't start making profits 2 days later. right? It's usually months later, but with this type of industry, it can be within a few weeks. Hope that answers your question.
Very good. Thanks, Jeremy. And we're going to go to our next caller. And I don't have a name, but I have a 931 area code. Who's with us? You're live on the air.
Yeah, so I was just wondering when you all were having the Vegas trip.
Right. So what's your name?
Tina Good.
Hi, Tina. So our Vegas event is the Marketing Mastery event, and that is going to be October 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. If you log into your Digital Altitude members site, you will see a link for that right on the dashboard. Should be the first thing you see right there.
Cool.
All right, Tina. Thank you. Very good. And let's go to our next caller. And that's Ernie Snow. Ernie, you're live on the air.
Oh, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
Ernie, you've got the floor. Go ahead, sir.
I got a call this afternoon from a gentleman. I also wrote, kind of sent a blanket email into corporate, who was with a program, and he told me that in order to, he first asked me, how much money I had to put into the program, and I said, well, I really don't have a whole lot of money. I said, so well, how's your credit? I said, it's pretty good. I just had an ex-wife who left me who kind of messed my credit up a little bit.
Understood. Hey, Ernie, I'm sorry, we're running low on time. What's your question, sir?
Well, he said that in order to make, he asked me how much money I had, and he said that the person who was over him wanted to make sure that he weeded out people who, were not going to produce. And he basically asked me how much credit I had, how much, cash I had on hand, and so on and so forth. And then when I told him, well, I really don't have anything right now. I was hoping to make some money with the company. I've got time and I've got commitment. And he said, well, if you don't have any, any money, to put into the program, no, that's okay. And he just clicked off on me. Didn't give me the chance to ask another question at all. But I wanted to know, if you send, say, an email to someone and tell them, and include in the email to check out my website, I'd like to see what you think about, about the company and about the products. And they say, sure, I love it. What can I do to get in? What do I do from there?
Okay, so it sounds like, well, we don't know who you're talking about, perhaps an affiliate, a sponsor, I don't know, okay, but at this point, what I'm going to ask you to do is to contact the help and support department, okay, inside your Digital Altitude members site. And Jeremy, do you have any other specific directive for our friend Ernie?
Yeah, because I don't know who that is. So I would just email support and give them the name of the person that called you, because I've never heard of that before. I wouldn't be a coach at DA. They would never do something like that. So I don't know if you're your sponsor or somebody outside of DA that was trying to act like they were from DA or something, because we don't train our coaches to do that at all. That's a no-no. We would never do something like that. So I just email support, email that name so we can get to the bottom to it. And then basically, if you have somebody that's interested in the business, you would just send them, your affiliate link once you go through all the steps and get trained and get traffic, and they would purchase the dollar trial probably like you did and go through the same system with coaches. That's how they'd get involved as well.
Yeah, there you go, Ernie. Definitely contact support, and we will have them route you onto a proper coach and make sure you're taken care of. So thanks for calling in tonight, Ernie. We're going to go to our next caller, which is David Cavallo. You are live on the air.
Yeah, this is Dr. David Cavallero in Oklahoma City, and I'm an orthopedic surgeon for 30 years. When you hit it on the head about you're always learning, and believe me, as a surgeon, you're always learning the human body. You learn it in school, but it's nothing compared when you're in practice. And this business that I'm in right now is unbelievable, because it makes total sense to me how you have to study, as I did medical school and board certification, and this is great. I can't wait till I really get into it and be part of it. Believe me, it's a beautiful, beautiful business. So I just commend you guys for good work you're doing, and I'm looking forward to meeting you guys in Las Vegas.
Awesome, Doctor. This is Jeremy talking. I will just come up to me and let's hang out in Vegas. I'm all yours.
Okay, brother. I look forward to seeing you too. Take care.
Fantastic. Thank you, David. And we'll go to our next caller, We're just somebody on a cell phone in the 484 area code. Who's this?
Hi, I'm Walter. I have a question. I got two different answers about it. I'm a RISE member, and I have been told both yes and no that I have to pay the $97 to get a ticket to Las Vegas. Which is true?
Okay, so as I mentioned in our opening announcements, Walter, we've got a $97, which is the half price special for the Sherpa ticket. And when you get that ticket and you come to Vegas, you present it, and they give you your $97 back because you're a new RISE member.
Aha.
So you got it both. There you go.
Okay, can I ask one more question real quick?
Yes, sir.
I don't have enough money to, I know this is an Ascension model. I know the more I'm invested into the various products, Ascension, Peak, and Apex, the more money it's possible to profit. But I don't have enough to invest into Ascension at this point. Is it possible to raise that by simply selling up through the RISE level?
I can answer that question. This is Jeremy. Yeah, you got to start at whatever you can get funding for, right? You know, when I trained a lot of people, they would hardly have any funds to do anything, and then just they went out and they got funding through 401ks or IRAs, or they did it on credit cards, or they just like any business owner, they went through finance companies to get finances to actually start their business. So my suggestion would be maybe look at those avenues if you want to keep the profits from your own members. But if for some reason you can't get that, you don't really have any choice. Being a RISE member is probably about 10% of your monthly income. Being an Ascend, Peak, Apex member, that's probably 90% of your monthly income.
I understand that.
You just got to do
That's why I'm worried about it.
You got to do what you can do to find the funding. I would suggest that, and then if for some reason you can't get the funding, you'll just kind of have to pass up most of your income at that point until you find it, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you, Walter. And what I learned when I was new here was take every step you can possibly take in the direction of your goals as fast as you can take it, right? And if you're doing that, you're pushing it as hard as you can push it, then that's what you got to do. So, Walter, thanks for being here. We got a few more, and then we're going to move on. Let's see, 678 area code. Who are we talking to? 678. You're live on the air. Who's this?
Sorry, I had my phone on mute. This is Derek Ash from San Diego, U.S. Navy.
Hey, Derek.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thank you. Guys, I really appreciate you guys taking this call. I'll be real quick. This is a question about the Marketing Mastery event. This is going to be my very first event with the company. And I guess I'll toss this question to Jeremy. If there's not one thing, 'cause I know you guys kind of mentioned this, but if there's maybe a mindset that we should have coming to that event. I know, like, you can build a business from big event to big event. What would you guys recommend in terms of, like, what to focus on when we get there? I know there's going to be a lot of rich, good stuff. Like, what should we focus on in terms of maybe note-taking or maybe networking, private conversations, anything?
I'll answer that in the beginning. I'm sure John will have a good answer as well. When I first went to my first live event, I'll just give you my experience. I obviously took notes from all the people who were training. But the biggest thing for me is the connections that I made with other top affiliates who are very successful, right? And even other affiliates that I met that were just, had just barely started, had made a little bit of money, I learned from them. So it's really the people that you're around and what you can actually learn from them, those connections that you make. The connections that I made at my first event, I probably made like 15, 20 great connections. I still keep in contact with all of those people, and they're all successful. Now, some of them have gone on to do great things and start their own companies in other industries, but I still keep in contact with them, and it all started from that one event in Phoenix, Arizona in 2006. So obviously the training is going to be awesome. You guys are going to learn a lot that's going to help your business go to the next level, but you're going to meet a lot of really awesome people that know what they're doing in this industry. They're going to take you underneath the wing. Imagine somebody taking you under their wing who's making $500,000 a year in this industry, or $700,000 a year, or over $1 million a year. What would that do for you? It's going to do great things for you, but you got to be at the event. If you're not at the event, nobody can help you, right? So I would just say, obviously the training is going to make amazing, but it's just the connections you're going to make. It's just life-changing. Your life will never be the same. Does that help you?
Yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Derek. Great answer as well, Jeremy. And we are going to go next to either Harrison Dennis or Dennis Harrison. Not sure which is the first or which is the last.
John, let's do this as the last question, if you don't mind. I'm got to get to this dinner with Michael and all these guys real quick. So let's do this as the last question if everybody's okay with that. I promise the next call that I do, I'll open it up for them.
There you go. So Harris or Dennis or Harrison, you're live on the air.
Hello?
Yep, there you are.
Okay, so in each different package level, Ascension, Rise, and Peak, each one focuses on something different, or are they all just different launches for each package? It's the same launch, just
it's the Ascend conference. It's not Ascension. I'm not sure. Sometimes I'd say say things like that too. So it's the Ascend conference. So the Ascend, Peak, and Apex events, not only are they events, but they're part of the compensation plan, okay? So every time one of your leads, your members that purchases Rise, wants to make profits as an Ascend member when they start with you, you get a, 50-60% payoff on that, okay? Commission on that. Same thing with Peak, same thing with Apex. Now, as far as what goes on at the events, the Ascend conference is all about internet marketing, social media training. It's all more about, they'll bring in world-renowned experts in each of those fields that teach you how to not only market DA, but to market other programs as well. Okay, you learn how to do a lot of social media, internet marketing. That's what the Ascend event, that 3-day event, is there for. The Peak conference, a little bit longer, it's a 5-day event. Half of that is more internet marketing training from even more experts to take you through to the next level of marketing, not only DA, but a lot of other opportunities. Maybe you want to learn how to market stuff on Amazon. They're going to teach you that, different things like that. But it's also about wealth creation as well. So they bring in financial experts that teach you how to invest the money that you're making, so you not only keep it protected, right, your principal, but you're actually earning a good return on those funds and just different investments as well. So that's kind of the difference between Ascend and Peak. That answers your question.
Yes, it does.
And
Don't worry.
And Dennis, be sure to go. Was it Dennis or is it Harrison?
Well, actually, that's just the name the phone line's on here. My name's Anthony White.
Oh, well, there you go. I got both names wrong. All right, Anthony. Definitely go through each step in great detail and get with your coaches, and you're going to learn all about the Ascension model, which includes all of the products, including Ascend, Peak, Apex, okay? But all of that is explained in great detail in the steps, which you'll be going through with your sponsor. So we're glad you're here. Welcome to you. And with that, we're going to end Q&A. I want to thank Anthony, not Dennis, and Stuart, Duke, Tom, Cornelius, and one other individual we didn't get to. Thank you for raising your hand. We're going to do this call again next week, of course, with another spectacular host. Let's go ahead and end that. And Jeremy, any closing comments from you before you go and enjoy steak or whatever you're going to be enjoying down there?
Just make sure you're at the event. If you're serious about running your business, then get serious and actually be at the event where we teach you how to run your business. It will be a life changer for you. It was for me. I would be doing this call right now if I had not gone to my first event. I would not be on this call right now. So that is that's the importance of a live event. So make sure you're there, and I will meet you there personally. Thanks for having me, John. It is an honor to be on here with this call with you.
My pleasure. Thanks, Jeremy, for sharing this time. Everybody, we'll see you on the Black Diamond again next week. Until then, get with your coaches, get through the steps, and of course, see us on the wake-up call tomorrow morning, which is also going to be another thrill. I will see you guys there. Have a great night. Bye for now.